Welcome to 9 Bob Note with Paul Isles-Rush and Ken Moss.
Hello everybody and welcome to 9 Bob Note. I'm Paul Isles-Rush.
I'm Ken Moss.
I'm Alan Fogg.
And I'm Simon Exton.
Ken, we've got 2 new people in the room tonight. It's
I know.
Getting very crowded, but it's always nice to have guests along, isn't it? So tonight it's over to Alan. What are we going to be talking about tonight, Alan?
Pronouns. The latest thing seems to be people putting it after their name in auto signatures and profiles on LinkedIn and jumping on the latest... can't say what I want to say.
Oh, no, you really can, yes. Welcome to 9 Bob Note. You can say whatever you damn well like.
I want a job at the end of this. Yeah, step back a bit. So, yeah, putting on how they want to be referred to on signatures, on profiles like LinkedIn. And I'm just sort of looking at it and trying to get comfortable with the fact that there's been a lot of progress made in terms of the acceptance of the LGBTQI+. And this seems to be the latest thing that's come along as well. And I'm just questioning in the back of my mind, is it going a little bit too far?
You're looking expectantly at me. You know very well what I'm going to say about this. I do not think that anybody other than the trans community really should be using those pronouns. I get the trans community using them because they're still sort of pushing against the barriers of breaking down anti-trans, transphobia, whatever they want to call it. I see, Alan, which I suspect what you're alluding to is a lot of bandwagon hopping. It's like, I guess I'm straight and I support you, and sort of like, I'm she, her, I'm he, him.
Can I respectfully interject?
Go on.
I, on my email signature at work, I have my pronouns. And that's because there is somebody on my team who is non-binary. So their pronouns are they, them. And so when they came out as non-binary, they let everybody know my pronouns are they, them, and put them in their signature. They were then the only person on the team who had those pronouns. So it stuck out like a sore thumb. There is also a trans person on a different team who doesn't necessarily present as female, and according to their email address, because of the way that our company works, still has a traditionally male sounding email address. And so they've got their surname as she, her, and it stands out as the only person on the team. So I've changed my pronouns. I didn't change my pronouns. I added my pronouns to my email signature, and I've encouraged the whole team to do that so that the one person on our team who has pronouns that you wouldn't necessarily expect. So they have a name which is traditionally female. So people refer to them as her or she. And we can say, well, actually, no, they've told you this is what they want to be referred to. So that's why I do it.
I'm conscious of the fact that Simon has remained tight-lipped so far, and now I'm just going to unblock the dam.
There's not really going to be any dam. I agree completely with Paul. I think that saying that the only people who should put pronouns down are the people where there may be any ambiguity about it is perpetuating an us and them situation. And if everybody were to do it, and yeah, to be fair, I don't put mine on my email sig at work, and never have done. But I think I probably should, because it normalises.
But look, as the only sort of straight in the room who has no real contact with any, beyond my packet, obviously, but I have no real contact with gay or trans people.
How do you know?
I don't know. That's a very good point. But I don't have the same workplace interactions that you guys do, where you do work with openly trans, gay, lesbian people.
I don't. There is nobody in my immediate workplace who is openly gay or bi or lesbian or trans.
Or they might be, but my workplace is quite different to that in that I don't so much have a workplace, but I do work, but not in the traditional sense that I don't have regular people around me every day. But what I mean is, looking at it from my point of view is, if somebody has on their Twitter profile or what have you, her, him, you sort of know, right, there's a reason here to be sort of tread carefully with this person, be respectful. What is the story behind this? It's not a case of, right, okay, what's your story? Oh, look, and just another one. Whereas if you see someone who isn't not a traditional, I really hesitate to use this, but who isn't either straight or bi or gay or what have you, and they're just sort of using that as a sort of in, it looks far more wanky for someone who isn't trans or non-binary or whatever that they're identifying as, than if they just didn't use it. Now, if somebody pops up as a she, her, or he, him, or what have you, and you look at the Twitter history and they're clearly trans, it's just another flag to tread carefully. This is what I identify as. It's not. There's no sort of red flag there that, oh God, I should probably do that as well, to sort of solidarity sort of thing.
But it's not solidarity, it's normalisation.
Well, no, I'm with you. But what I mean is I don't see it as...
Because it hasn't yet been normalised. But that doesn't mean that that's not what we should be trying to do.
No, but what I mean is, whenever I've seen that, I've not flagged it up as, right, somebody different. Yeah, but I do see it as normal.
But so if it's normal, we should all be doing it.
Yeah.
Well, no. But what I mean is, I don't look at it and think, I've got to treat you differently. It's just a case of, right, thank you very much. That's an indicator. That's what you identify as. That is what I will identify you as. It's not a case of, it's not a normalizer. What it is a guide for people who don't know. Actually, a helpful flag.
Yes, but it would still be a helpful flag if the use of pronouns was normalised.
But on the other hand...
But it's not talking about identification. It's talking about, this is the way I would like to be respectfully referred to.
But if somebody's name is Mark Jones
and
they identify as she, her, but they don't say she, her...
Or they, them.
Or they, or whatever it is, or whatever they particularly want... And they don't flag it up. I have no problem. If somebody's called Mark Jones and they identify as a woman and they want to be identified as she, her, they flag that up, fine. But I am Ken Moss. I don't want to be identified as she, her. I am he, him.
So what is the problem with you putting he, him?
Because there's no particular reason for me to do it. I am Ken Moss.
Other than the fact that it would make other people more comfortable putting their own pronouns down.
But I've nothing. But what I mean is... I've just got a bit of a problem with, I think where I'm going with this is that I don't feel that people should be made to or expected to exhibit behaviours that they're not comfortable with in order to make other people feel comfortable. I don't feel that that is fair.
But if everybody were to do that, so you, for example, where there isn't very much doubt,
I hope not. Well, there has been doubt. There has.
But
oh, Vicky, I'm so sorry, Vicky.
For somebody where it's not something that needs to be stated, the fact that you're stating it normalises that statement. So it makes it easier for people where the statement is personally and significantly and socially and politically an important thing to make. And this is an aspect of coming out. If everybody were to do that as a supportive statement, whether it's necessary for that individual or not, it makes it easier for other people where it is a important part of their coming to terms with their own gender identity. It makes it easier to make that statement because the making of the statement has been normalised.
I do get your point, but don't you feel that the problem that, and I will make this statement again and again and again, 95% of people just do not give a shit.
So if you don't give a shit, what is it going to harm you to put your pronouns down?
If I could be allowed to finish. If I could be, can I finish? Please, can I finish?
Go ahead, Mr. Farage.
No. What you're trying to do is convince the 5% of people who are never going to change their mind. They're never going to change their mind. It's 2021. Most people don't give a shit about most things. There's 5% of people on any subject, you're never going to change their mind. So if Alan suddenly came today and said, listen, I'm identifying as a woman today, it'd be like, right, mate, sorry, love, if that's your if that's your preference, no problem. And nobody around this table would give a toss. 5% of people in the country would be sort of, you're fucking queer. They will be so against it. But by me putting he, him, what I'm trying to do is convince the 5% that this is normal.
No, it isn't. No, go on, it really isn't.
What you're saying is, this is what I want you to refer to me as. If you got an email, and it's especially relevant at the moment where we're all, where a lot of us are working from home, and you're getting emails and stuff, and you meet someone, and say you get an email from someone called Alex. It could be a man or a woman. You don't know. If they had at the end of their email signature he, him, you would know to refer to him as
a gender neutral name. That's definitely.
But also it's exactly the same as if anybody, like going back to Ken's example. Sorry to put you on the spot, Alan. If you came out as trans and said, I mean, you might want to keep the name Alan. That's fine. But you said, I am a trans woman, I'd like you to refer to me as she, her. Then there's no other way of people knowing that other than you telling people. So saying it when you introduce yourself at the start of meetings or putting it in your email signature is the only way of doing it. I don't care if someone calls me, replied to an email, or, who phoned me up and called me Mrs. Mrs. Isles. I don't care. But for someone who's been through that, it's a massive deal.
I do. Don't get me wrong, gents. I do get your point that you want to normalise it, but I honestly think, from somebody who doesn't know this world very well, that somebody who puts she, her, right? Okay, that is, for me, it's a useful flag. But for somebody who is clearly not trans or not in any way transitioning or non-binary or whatever, I don't think that needs to be a flag. It actually has a negative effect to me, and I suspect to a lot of other people, if they're not trans. But I fully support trans people saying, look, I identify as a woman, these are my pronouns.
But by all of us doing it, it's not a flag anymore.
No, but somebody called Mark Jones who says she, her, it is going to be a flag. You can't get away from it.
Somebody called Mark Jones who is 100% cisgendered and puts he, him. What difference does it actually make to that person? Well, none whatsoever. No. What difference does it make to the person that receives the email who may be having gender issues, considering a degree of transition or considering whether they're non-binary? It is a show of support.
No, I am mindful of the fact, but what all I would say is, and I am mindful of the fact that Alan, whose topic it is, has been drowned out for the past 15 minutes.
I've been quite enjoying the debate.
But what I would say is, I cannot deny from an LGBTQ perspective, where you have been exposed to and researched this and know this topic far better from the inside than I do. I can only offer my perspective from the outside in.
Okay, so I think the most important position to think about in this is that this affects a small minority of people, but that small minority has asked the larger majority of people to, as a sign of respect, add their pronouns. It makes no difference to the people who are cisgendered. It makes a huge difference to people who are transgendered. I've not really thought about it in that depth before, but I am going to add pronouns to my email sig, not because I have any question about my gender identity, but because I support people who do have a different view on their gender identity.
I honestly, I get it. I do get the message that's coming across. Yeah. The problem is that unless you get feedback from the community that you're feeding out to, what is the point of it if the feedback coming back contradicts the message being sent? And that's what I'm saying, that it actually looks like to a lot of people virtue signalling rather than this is normalising a problem.
The message that needs to go back is that those people who are saying that are wrong. And they need to get on the bandwagon because absolutely nothing to introduce yourself and say what your pronouns are. If, in a group situation or on an email or whatever, when you do a creeping death, when you know, like when you start a a new job or whatever, and you go around the table, you do a creeping death and say, tell us your name, tell us where you're from, tell us 3 interesting things about yourself. And everyone hates it. Everyone hates it. Why can't you say, instead of saying, tell us your name and what town you live in, tell us your name, tell us your pronouns, tell us one embarrassing thing about yourself. And that's all it takes. I'm Paul. My pronouns are he, him. And I very often fall off walls and kill myself. Nearly kill myself. Yeah, and next person. And that's it. It's
now that you know what it's about, and you know that it's not jumping on a bandwagon, and it is about sending a positive signal, it is about support for the trans community. Are you going to add pronouns?
No,
to
I'm
your
not,
statement?
because
I don't think you can say you get the message.
No, I understand. What I mean is I understand what the message is.
But you don't agree with it. So you think the trans community are wrong to us.
What? You're putting words into my mouth. I never said anything about
No,
trans
I'm not. You said you don't agree with it. The trans community have asked us to do this. If you don't agree, you're saying you think they're wrong.
I don't know what you want me to say.
I'd quite like to say I'm going to add pronouns to my email, Sig.
I'm not going to, but...
So you hate trans people?
I am a massive transphobe. I hate trans people, yes. That will be a meme somewhere. No, I don't. I am very, very much in favour of trans people letting me know what I should and should not call them, because...
You just don't want to show them any public support.
That's not what I said. You're putting words into my mouth. I actually really, really do like the fact that trans people put her, him or she, her.
It saves an uncomfortable...
It saves a very uncomfortable amount of conversations and putting my foot in it and offending somebody that really, really doesn't deserve to be offended. So the trans community, please do. If you are trans and you want to identify as she, her, of course I will. But I don't personally see the need to do that in order to show solidarity with somebody I am already perfectly sympathetic with and will go out of my way not to offend.
Even though that community has asked you to do that.
But that community is asking me to do something I'm not comfortable with in order to show solidarity with a community I am already very, very sympathetic with and will show absolutely every courtesy to. So I don't
Apart
think...
from the courtesy they've asked for.
No, the courtesy they've asked for is for me to change my behaviour in order to show a courtesy that I'm already showing to them. That's not courtesy anymore. That is a demand. I will show courtesy to anybody that walks through my door once they start asking me to change my...
To show them some respect.
No. You're putting words into my mouth again, Dr. X, and this is very unfair. Once I start being asked to change my persona or my behaviour or my personality in order to show solidarity with somebody else, and that can be from any community, any society, any background, any belief, any religion, whatever it is, that starts creeping into the world of demands. And that is true of a lot of things around the world, but way...
Like religious faith saying...
Religion is the one.
Don't give up alcohol to supporters.
The only beef around the world that I've got any beef with is religion. Trans, come to me, can walk through my door any day of the week and you will get the hospitality that you deserve. Religion, different kettle of fish.
I think we should leave the final word on this to Alan, who introduced
Whose topic it is and who has been drowned out for half an hour.
He threw the grenade in and then watched it.
Yes, I definitely pulled the pin on that grenade, didn't I? I think it was a really interesting debate. I hadn't got the connection about the inclusion bit in terms of the reason why, and Paul, the explanation you give about why you did that at work, because we haven't had any directive from our work come down at the moment that we need to start changing and altering the auto signature. It might come down the line in due course. I think one of the things that's at the back of my mind is I think it needs to be option for people. You try and force people to do something. It's like, Simon knows, people try and force me to do something, I'll do the opposite.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be a personal choice of people, and you've also got to be careful as well that when these things are on signatures, you're going to have to be careful with what you do with your emails, because if you get the terminology wrong and the fact that they're not being referred to as to how they want to be, the next thing you're going to be in trouble with HR, and there's going to be a world of stuff hitting the fan. That's my only concern at the moment, is it just needs to settle and find its way gradually, not be forced too fast.
Yeah, and where I work, as I said, I do it. People on my team do it. You're not forced to do it. No one judges you if you don't. I judge them if they don't. No, I'm only joking. But yes, I think it's time to throw the boa in the air and decide whether or not this is an important subject.
Well, it's gone silent, so I suppose that's me, isn't it? I am going to say it's a 5. I do think that going forward, I personally do not think that it's necessary for everybody to do it in order to normalise it. I think what's more important is that people recognise that people who use those pronouns, that is normal, rather than everybody having to use a pronoun.
I think the way to normalise it is for everybody to do it. I think if you say, oh, well, you should only do this if it's important to you, it immediately raises the fact that this person has gender issues and they may not want that to be known. If everybody were to use pronouns, then people who need to use pronouns aren't sticking out like a sore thumb. Oh, sorry, score, 5.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm going with 5 as well. I think it's a very important thing. Let's just all do it and then it's fine for everyone.
5. That's about it. I haven't got anything else to add on it. I said my bit, yeah.
Well, it's time for Screening Queens. Alan, have you got anything to lead us in with?
A very good recommendation by Simon.
On Alan's behalf, there's an excellent film with Cillian Murphy called Breakfast on Pluto, based on a book by the same name about a trans woman from Ireland. But it's well worth a watch. Breakfast on Pluto.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. I think we can all agree we've had a heated debate, as Mrs. Merton would say today. Thank you all for listening. And
Didn't Mrs. Merton call them mass debates?
I think that's what some of you will be doing later. Right, that's enough there. We'll see you next week.
Nine Bob Note featured Paul Isles-Rush and Ken Moss. Title music was by Mark Shyman, and the programme was produced by Maverick Productions. For more information, please visit maverickproductionsuk.blogspot.com or find us on social media.